Right, this program is about you're given, I'm going to ignore A and I'm going to ignore, just ignore A. So, and sorry, B part 1, but I'm going to look at this bit down here because B part 2 is about when you run this line of code, what is it that happens to the variables, items and permutations. So I'm ignoring A and I'm ignoring B part 1, but the B part 2 is referring to here, and it's referring to items which has got 3 in it, and permutations is which has got 0 in it. So what I'm going to do just now is over here I'm just going to do items and I'm going to write 3, and beside it I'm going to write permutations and I'm going to put 0 into that. So what I can see is I'm giving myself a visual of what the variables are, because I know that this program is about what's happening to the variables. So look here, it says state the values contained in items and permutations after execution of the line of code in part 1. So it's this line of code here. So what I'm going to do is just scoot back up so that I can see my function and I can see my variables here, and I can also see the line of code that I want to run. Now, what this one up here says is I've got a function. Now please remember the difference between your function and your procedure is that a function must, as in not negotiable, return one and only one value. And if I look inside this code, there's my return factor down here. Now you've used functions quite a lot. You stop and think about when you write your return v items, return something in the subclass when you're returning that to your controller class. So just remember about how that works. You couldn't have return v items and return something else inside the one function. You could only have one. I have shown you what the error you get when you put 2 inside there to show you that a function gives you an error. Right, sorry, focus Miss Kennedy. So here's my code up here, function combinations, so this is the name, and here are my 2 brackets, so we know that it's a subprogram or a method, and notice that inside it we've got a number which is of type integer. Now that's telling me that something is getting passed in. This is a parameter getting passed in, and it's telling me that I need to return an integer here. So I've got a variable in here called factor, and it's set to 1. Here is my for counter equals is from 1 to number do, so it's just your for loop, and it's going to do it for whatever number is inside this variable here, number. So when we're inside the for loop, it sets factor to counter times factor, end for, and then return whatever the factor is, end function. So what I've done is I've written out my variables here, but there's variables inside here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come under and I'm going to write out these variables as well. So first of all, from my top line I've got number, and then I've got factor, and then I've got counter, and that seems to be me. Sorry that I've done some capitals and some not capitals, I'm not bothering about that. Right, so counter, for counter from 1 to number. Now remember, this is what we use when we do I, for int I equals 0, yada yada yada. So in here it's called counter, so it's going to start at 1 and then it's going to keep incrementing for whatever this number is. Right, so let's jump down to my line. So set permutations to combinations and pass in items. Now the word items doesn't get passed in, because remember you're passing in the data. Parameter passing is passing the data. So what is it that's getting passed in? Well, it's not the word items, because remember this line here is calling the function. So whatever this function returns is getting put into permutations. So this